Hello, hometown guy back here. I wanted to show you guys my Blazer boat. I've had this boat for several years. It's been a great boat. I have decided this year I'm going to try to get a new one. So this one is going to get sold, and I'm going to have a new one made. There's always been a few things about this boat that have kind of bothered me, which I'll show you. And the new one that I'm going to have made won't have these features in it that this one does. It's primarily just one thing, and the other thing is I made my own rod box for this boat. It works okay, but I see now that they offer it with a rod box, so I'll probably have a factory made rod box put in this new one. And I want to show too how this boat is set up, because this boat works so perfect as far as the height of the motor on the transom. And if anybody is looking to set up a jet rig, maybe this will help you, because this is a flat bottom boat, just a sled style boat, and I never ever experienced any cavitation issues or anything like that. So let's go over here and take a look. I'll show you what we got. Here is the boat. This particular boat is an 1852. I think that the same company that makes the boat also makes the trailer. It's called a Rivercraft, and the trailer is really good too. As far as loading this thing in and out, I've loaded it to where just the back of the trailer was just barely in the water, and the way that the trailer is set, the whole rig is set up, you can still drive the boat back up on this trailer and then winch it the rest of the way. I mean, this is a really light boat anyhow, but winching it back up on there, once you got it started on the back of the trailer, is super easy. So I bought this boat used. It's a 2004. I bought it just a couple of years old from a guy down in Arkansas. I live in Illinois, and I had always wanted one of these. I've seen people running them around on videos and so forth. I'm like, oh, I gotta have that for my local river. And this thing opened up a whole world of different fishing opportunities for me, and I just love this boat. Like I say, I'm shooting for a new one, hopefully, and to replace this one. Otherwise, there'd be no way I'd get rid of it. But let's start here. I'll show you the things that I don't like about it. This box that you see right here in the middle, this is supposedly was put in here as a live well, and I'll see if I can open it. Maybe I can. It was frozen. We've had some cold come back here in Illinois, and so a lot of this is frozen. The compartments are frozen shut. So I don't know if I can open it, but all it is just an open box, and in the center of the floor of that open box there's a drain that goes to the bottom of the boat. The way that it was originally set up was they just wanted you to pull that drain plug out and let it fill up with water, and then put the drain back in there, the plug back in there. But the problem is the water, once you got water in the thing, it would never come out, because the stub that the drain plug goes into is about 1.5 inches above the bottom of the well. So I've never used it for that. I used it one time. I tried it, decided this is stupid, so I just used it for storage, for life jackets and all that sort of stuff. And then you can see this is the rod box that I made. I made this one winter. I was sitting around doing nothing, and I made this rod box. Basically, the rod box is made out of all this type of I used 1 inch by 1 inch channels. Maybe later on I'll get some water and thaw it out so I can show you what it looks like on the inside. But I used 1 inch channels, made a frame, and then covered the frame in maybe you can see the corner of it right here. I covered the frame in this weird plastic sheeting from Home Depot, and I riveted it all together. The whole thing's riveted. There's no welds, and I've had it in here for, geez, I don't know, 7 or 8 years, and it's been fantastic. The top is wood. Yeah, it's hard to tell from this vantage point, but this from here to here does not open. This is the door. You can sort of see the line right here. This is hinged and it opens up. This is just 1/2 inch plywood treated, and I carpeted the whole thing to make it go with the carpeting on the front of the boat. This is just some El Cheapo carpet that I got from Menards. Just glued it all, put it all on there, and away we went. Oh, Oh, this one does open. Okay, cool. So then right here in the front, I have one battery in the front, and then I have a charger in the front. I run a 24 volt trolling motor on this boat. I've tried a couple of different trolling motors, and I basically had to do it this way to function in the current. And the other thing I found out, this is, as you can see, this is a hand control trolling motor. When you're in stiff current, and if you have a foot control and you turn one way or the other and the current catches you, it swings you around so fast it almost throws you out of the boat. Well, that's what's cool about the hand control, is it affords you the opportunity to have more, you know, control in stiff current, which is good, because to go swimming is not a good deal. So then the other thing I had happen when I had the foot controls on here was I'd be out there and I would turn, the thing would go, and then let's say trolling motor catches on a big rock or a log or something. Well, I ripped the trolling motor off this thing 2 or 3 times, because the way that it was set up, these holes here in this bracket that came with the boat, they had these rubber expansion nuts that went down into the deck that held it on there. And that's good and all, but if you put any kind of a load on it, it would just, the whole bracket would pull off. So I took it over to my local welding guy and had this big plate welded on it. Hopefully you can see that big plate. It's 9 by 24. So they stitch welded this on here, and then took my original bracket and stitch welded it along here to now this thing is solid as a rock. It's never ever gotten loose or came off or anything since then. So that's been great. My son actually took this boat on Lake Michigan years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, with a friend of his. He says, "Oh, Dad, I want to use the boat and go up to Door County fishing like, you know, they have every year and blah, blah, blah." I said, "Okay, well, you know, don't leave the bays." Long story short, what's a 16-year-old kid do? He leaves the bays and drives a couple miles out to an island. Well, while he's out at the island, a storm blows in, and that lake is deadly, like all the Great Lakes. So him and his friend had to white knuckle it all the way back to shore in this boat, which, you know, the gunnels are like, I don't know, 2 feet tall, through like 7, 8, 10 foot rollers the whole way. The boat had 8 inches of water in it by the time they got back. Scary, scary deal. Thank God he didn't drown that day. But if it wasn't for this good quality boat, either twisting, breaking, whatever, on top of the stellar outboard, which is an Evinrude ETEC, and the motor kept running, everything kept going, they were able to make it back, thank God. This boat, you know, had it been a lesser boat, I feel like the outcome, I don't even like to think about the outcome, but could have been really bad. So the other thing this boat never had when I got it was a bilge pump. I put this bilge pump in. This one was the first things I did, because if you're fishing in the rain, you have the plug in, you can't pump any water out. So I put this pump in there and plumbed it out the side here, and then I also installed this fuse center, so that the things that are in the boat are now fused. All of them are. And then it has either a 10 or a 12 gallon gas tank over there that I had some problems with that. I'll show you what I did. That's what this white stuff is on here. This is sealer, because last year or 2 years ago I had a problem where the engine wasn't running right, and I got to looking at it, and it turns out it had water in the fuel, and I couldn't find out from where it was coming in. So I went ahead and sealed this with this 3M marine epoxy, and I've never had a problem since. It's been great. Okay, so this oh yeah, this one's frozen shut. It ain't coming open either. I'll see if I can get this one open. I doubt it, but I'll try. Oh, there it is. So there is this compartment. So let me show you what we got in here. We got it's frozen. So there it is. There's that plug. You can see it's just sticking up there. So you'll never get that last 1.5 inches of water out of this thing. So I actually drilled a hole in the corner over there to drain it out. So there's that. So now, oh, it's cold out here. I'm going to show you the way that the motor is set up on here. So I'm pretty sure you could do this with about any. This boat is made for a jet engine. I'll stand back here and you can see how tall the transom is. It's a 27-inch transom. I'll show you on my tape. If we go here, whoops. I'll try it over here. Maybe I can get a better grip. Hold the camera. Okay, so we got a 27-inch transom. So the motor is sitting on there. Let me go down here where I can give you a good view of it. You can see that the motor, now that motor is tilted up a little bit right now, a little bit past level. You can see that it's right at the bottom of the boat. But typically when you're running and you have it tilted down, it's below the boat about an inch. And it works absolutely perfect. The people that put this boat together knew what they were doing, because I've never had to change the motor height or any of that. And then back here we have 2 more batteries. So with the trolling motor being 24 volts, I found that, I mean, I probably could have rigged it different. I probably could have had 2 batteries in the front, but this just seemed more convenient. So this is it. Again, let me get you a good look in case anyone, I'm primarily making this video to show you how this thing is set up in case someone wants to try to set one up like it. I have an idea of motor height, because that's a huge, yeah, screwed up, hit the button. That's a huge issue with it. Motor height's a huge issue when it comes to jet boats. So, again, let me try to get this as good as I can to show you. And like I say, this boat's treated me really, really good over the years. Sort of hate to see it go, but I'm gonna get a new one. And anyway, that's it. I'll have to try to figure out how to piece these 2 pieces of video together. And so anyway, hopefully it helps anybody looking to try and set up a jet rig. Peace out. Oh, I forgot to mention while I was out here. This engine, it's a 40 horse ETEC that I'm fairly certain was, well, I know it was. It was a prop engine that the fella that I got it from had the jet installed. Because if you look at the serial, the model number, it's an E40 DPL SRC. So this was a prop engine. So it's 40 horse at the power head. So you're getting about 28 or 25 horse out the jet. And believe it or not, this thing moves this 18-foot boat not that bad. With 2 people, full gear, cooler, snacks, all that good stuff, you can still run low 20s. Which, you know, is not blazing speed by any measure, but considering where you're going 9 times out of 10, it's fast enough.